Helpless.
You're exactly what that is. You're helpless.
Didn't have the fucking strength to say no. He planted the seed in my head and it fucking ate at me till I did it. I wish I had just said, no, don't, you put that in my face again and I'm gonna fucking smash you, I should have said that.
Should have said it. Can you?
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I didn't have the strength.
Paralyzed.
The zone is drugs, prostitution, crime. I've spent a lot of time here. A lot of days.
I just say, functional drug addict.
A disease that, you know what I mean? Now we got these drugs coming from everywhere and it's killing our kids like nothing.
Somebody died, I heard it, came out here, saw it.
Like, what the hell?
And a friend of mine got killed right here, shot in the head, broad daylight.
You don't want this kind of grief and you don't want this disease. You don't want to see how it feels to sleep on the street. Blisters on your feet, you hungry and there's nothing to eat. Need some relief. So I'ma try to kick it again. I'ma get it this time and never do it again. I'm sick of heroin, sick of freaking missing my friends. Sick of being such a chicken when the sickness kicks in. It's got a tight grip, squeeze your life out like a vice grip. It'll put your lights out, leave you white and lifeless. It's a crisis. That's why I white knuckle and fight this. That's why the time I'd like to see me finally bite this in the ass.
How many times have you been in a recovery program?
I honestly paused for a second before I answer that question because I'm not sure if you'd believe me if I told you. It's right around 70 times. 70 times, whether it's detox, 30-day program, dual diagnosis.
So the motivation that it takes Chris to go to treatment, get help, go to a counselor, go to a psychiatrist, go to treatment places is Herculean in my opinion.
After interviewing Chris and his mother, we found that Chris's reasons for going to rehab over 70 times are clearly different than what his mother thinks his reasons are.
I think it's his parents. He doesn't want to disappoint us.
Because that was my defense mechanism to anything, whether it was being homeless.
His love for his girls.
About to be dope sick.
For his family.
About to go to jail.
And he wants to slay the beast.
Already went to jail and got out, now I'm trying to look good for court. Like, there's a million reasons one might jump into detox in my shoes.
Chief Dan Goonan of the Manchester Fire Department has saved Chris Derry's life on more than one occasion in the back alleys of Manchester, New Hampshire.
Do you remember Chris Derry?
Okay. Yeah, I remember Chris Derry really, really well. I remember him well.
Can you tell us a little bit about that circumstance?
Well, the first time I met Chris Derry was in the back alley of a home on, I believe it was Spruce Street. I got to the call, I went up the back alley, I was there first. He was out. He was out. He was out. It's amazing he was alive. It was a call where we used a significant amount of Narcan. So Chris uses heroin, it's fentanyl. Uses fentanyl, he becomes unconscious. Well, his buddy started to work on him.
In the world of addiction, friendship has an entirely different meaning.
His buddy gets sick of working on him. So what does he do? Steals his wallet, steals his drugs, takes his shoes, turns around and says, "You never saw this," and he takes off.
Listen, you'll hear in AA and NA and stuff, they'll say, they're not your real friends if they're used with you or you're used with them, and in my case, that's bullshit.
By contrast, we found that people in successful recovery are unanimous in their disagreement.
When I first started going, I would be like, yeah, right. I'm not giving up my friends. That's not happening. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, my friends, they know what I'm doing, and they'd be cool, with me being clean and them using. And I'm sure that in their heart of hearts, they wanted to, but when you're around people, it's like, they can get drugs, and they have it, when they're high, and you itch to want it. You want it. And it can't happen.
Basically, these are my real friends, and the hardest thing for me is to say goodbye to my friends, to be like, hey, I can't hang out with you anymore because you use, and I might want to use too. That's the hardest thing in the world. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that.
I was insane to think, I'm not a junkie, I can do this on my own, I can stay with my friends, I can still hang out, I can still keep all those numbers in my cell phone, and just call them when I just want to do it once in a while. It doesn't work.
Like they say, if you go to a barber shop, eventually you're going to get a haircut.
If you learn from your mistakes and you fix it, then it's okay. But if you don't fix your mistake and you just keep rotating the same thing over, it's gonna be the same thing, a revolving door every time. And I lived that life. I've been in prison for so long. I did time in jail. I'm 49 years old, and I think I did like 30, almost 29 to 30 years in jail. It's not a life to live.
If you don't change your friends in your playgrounds, you know, people, places, and things, you're gonna continue to do the same shit. Most likely, if I had, like, you know, good amounts, if I had any sober time, I'd probably have to stay away from my friends that I know did anything from drinking to shooting heroin.
You know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We all know that cliche, but it is so damn true.
My dad left my mom when I was 10. And he was definitely in my life when I was older, but, you know, he did the best he could, beat my ass, this and that. Only made me angrier. And then when I got to those teenage, high school years, you know, they were so busy doing that stuff, the opiates, that they lost track of the important things.
You know, they're friends, you know, I mean, they're real friends, closer than, like, more like family than friends, and how am I gonna deal with that? I don't really know.
People that I've known for a long time and were very near and dear to me, including, I mean, there was some family. And you have to cut it.
I can never imagine what it is for someone who wants to get off an opioid not to quit cold turkey. I can do it at a drop of a hat with certain things. You know, like I said, I've tried the cocaine, I've done, you know, my cigarettes, my marijuana, my alcohol, and I love my drugs.
Oh, well, I mean, let's forget heroin. Let's talk about drinking alcohol, for example. Like, how am I ever going to be able to go sit on a beach and watch everybody else around me drink beers and not and be okay? How am I going to be able to go on boat rides and watch other people drink beers and be okay? Well, I'll say this, that you probably shouldn't be out there on boat rides and on the beach with people that are drinking beers if you don't want to, if you're not supposed to be drinking beers.
Can you hear me? Yep. Yeah, loud and clear, the thing works?
It's loud and clear.
Man, I don't know, like what should I start doing this documentary thing? Like,
I know, you're gonna have to sign a
like, see, I've been in Manchester like since I was like, man, young, you couldn't imagine, you know what I mean? And I've done this like many times over and over and over. I just say functional drug addict.
You know, people say, oh, I'm a functioning addict. Well, when you're a heroin user, functioning stops after a while. You can't have a full-time job for 25 years and a family and a house and continue to use and not out and having your head fall between your legs in a professional place of work.
I chose the path of my life, so it is what it is. I don't regret nothing that I did in my lifetime, but I just don't want that for my nieces and my nephews and my kids and my grandkids, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, it's been rough for me, you know what I mean? Been on drugs for so many years.
The top employees down, everybody was taking a break here and there. And,
oh, yeah, we took a lot of breaks.
Took a lot of breaks. Took a lot of breaks. I mean, the job got done.
Eventually.
No, eventually.
Oh, yeah, we did it. We just made sure we had fun while we were doing it.
You wouldn't believe it, but you know, the drug is more powerful than common sense. It truly is.
I want to say that there's a huge difference between an addict and a junkie, okay? And because an addict, that's somebody that's just addicted, all right? A junkie, that's somebody who sucks, all right, is gonna, they don't suck, you know, I shouldn't say that. They're lost. It's a lost soul, and they're gonna steal from their friends, their family, do whatever it takes to get what they need, and I was never that.
I never stole from my loved ones. I never took from my friends. I never prostituted myself. I stole thousands of dollars out of stores to feed a habit.
To tell you the truth, there's plenty of people out there that would call me a junkie just because I shoot heroin or because I don't have my kids.
And I never thought I was a junkie until that day and realized junkie and an addict are the same damn thing.
That's such a one, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like, because I never got no diseases, because I've never had abscesses, because I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to say shit like that.
I am that woman, I am that junkie. I am the stereotype that everybody sees. I am that person. And I got taken to jail, to county jail, and had to go walk into court, pregnant, shackled, in a prison outfit, you know, orange jumpsuit, pair of bobos, and it was not a good experience. People just were, oh my, you know, you could see the looks on people's faces, like, how could she do that? How could this pregnant woman get caught with a drug paraphernalia and be pregnant and potentially hurt this child?
We're not allowed to have our kids because of, you know, others' involvement, others' knowledge of knowing that we had done drugs. Oh, you do drugs? People that do drugs can't have their kids around them, right? Yet, while we're running around depressed because, you know, whatever, because we don't have our children, we're going to other people's houses where you're seeing them leaving their fucking kids in shitty diapers, you know what I mean? And you know, just living in squalor, dire straits. Nobody's going there and telling them, taking their fucking kids. And you know, we've actually had to, like, me and my kid's mother have actually gone as far as to call the state on other parents because we see them doing shit that is just like incomprehensible to us. Like, holy shit, you fucking, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, your kid is screaming and crying still in the crib, you know, has a shitty diaper, and we change it for them, and they're just like, oh, thanks, you know, and, you know, boom, we call the state on them.
And the only reason you don't call yourself a junkie and you call yourself an addict is because you don't want to be that person.
I'd really not want to talk about that too much because stupid motherfuckers are gonna fucking see that and they're gonna be like, oh, so you're saying you're better than that person.
Because there's always gonna be somebody worse than you. Oh, I am better than this person.
Yeah, I am, but it's hard to convince you because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know, that person's way worse than I am.
No, I don't, man, this aggravates me right now.
That police officer was right. I did a lot of shady things and I just was never caught.
Yeah, just whatever I can do for cash, you know what I mean? That's what I do. As far as work goes, yeah. As far as legitimate work goes, you know, yeah.
Oh, now wait a minute. Now you made me interested. What do you mean by legitimate work?
I mean, you do just about anything. Yeah, there's a lot of things one might do to support a heroin habit. You know, it could be anything from from working to robbing and stealing to selling drugs. You know, goes on and on.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you done some of that?
Of course, everybody has that does it.
We all do shitty shit to our families, to our loved ones, to the people that mean the most to us in the world, and don't think about it until we're sick.
That day, you fear so much that day that you know is coming where you're gonna wake up sick as a dog, where you can't sleep, you can't eat right, you don't go to the bathroom right, you can't go up and down stairs, you can't, you know, it's hard to walk, it's hard to talk, it's hard to think. It is literally a living hell to be dope sick. I don't know about anybody else, but I literally feel like I'm losing my mind when I get dope sick. I literally, I don't know if you know what it's like to feel like you're losing your touch with reality, your grip on reality. I don't know if you know what that's like, but it's fucking scary. The muscle cramps, the vomiting, the nausea, the diarrhea, the sweating, not sleeping, not eating. I have trouble putting sentences together, you know, like I can't talk, and it's partly just because my brain won't send a signal to my mouth to speak the words, but it's also like you got such a bad anxiety, and it doesn't matter social or not. It's not just a social anxiety, you got a constant anxiety that won't leave you. It's just knots inside you that won't go away. You can't get comfortable. You sit down, you gotta stand up. You stand up, you gotta sit down. You know, you're pacing, and it's all day.
It doesn't happen to you right away. That's the thing. Like, that's why you think you are okay, and you think you can keep on going, because you'll wake up and you might just feel a little under the weather, and you just keep on going. And one day, boom, it's full force, and it's got you.
It's scary. I literally start like, I'm losing my grasp on reality.
Traditional rehab programs, originally developed for alcohol abuse, lasted for 28 days, a period of time found to be largely ineffective for opioid addiction.
That's the biggest reason why short-term treatment, and when I say short-term, I don't just mean detox. I mean detox, then a 30-day, you know, it won't work for a guy like me who's been doing opiates, heroin specifically, for over 10 years now, you know, because that shit don't go away.
The old way of really doing things as far as drug and alcohol treatment it was always an old model, and the phrase that was always being used is, it's because that's how we've always done it.
Well, I don't know who people are kidding, thinking that if they go on a detox, get cleaned up, and hit the street again, that they're gonna be okay, because your mind doesn't even start to go back to normal. It doesn't even start for at least a month, you know, when you're in it like I've been into it, you know, and of course you're gonna go back to that drug, you know, before the miracle happens and your brain starts going back to normal, you know, like you're gonna reach for that drug. That's why it doesn't work.
28 days doesn't work, and people need what people need is long-term sobriety, but they need long-term supports. And what Families in Transition gave me was exactly that. They gave me the long-term support so I could have long-term sobriety.
There's a lot of data out there that shows that long-term works. The person that comes to our program, even if it's the initial portion, we're still really trying to get that client to be on board for long-term treatment no matter where they go. That's always the perspective, because ultimately everything in our history shows us that long-term works, and for some reason we've really abandoned that.
Day after day after day, you can get through one day, you can get through 2 days, you can get through a week, 2 weeks, whatever, so on, right? But when you have that much time to get through before your brain starts to heal again, you know, if you're anything like me, you're not gonna be strong enough to stick it out.
It's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. If it was a cakewalk, we wouldn't have an epidemic.
I went to a long-term treatment program. I walked out of that program with almost 11 months of sobriety.
You know, we don't lose contact with that client after 30 days. We continue following up with them. You know, we have a weekly alumni meeting. We have a lot of staff that spend time making sure that the aftercare is set up and that there's follow-up done with that and things like that. And it's not just you know, here's a set of directions and, you know, have fun finding the place. They kind of hold your hand until you get there, which is, I think, really important.
I think time is a factor. I think you need time to be able to allow their brain to heal. In order to do behavior changes, you need a clear brain, or as clear as can be. And so I think time is essential. And I think within that time, it allows us to implement all of those other services for folks. But the more time that we have, the longer people sit in treatment, the healthier that they become.
And we found that there are certain people that with a standard model, they just weren't going to do what it was asked of it. And so we have adapted to really being able to engage somebody, meet them where they're at. And we find that more people really need to be met where they're at instead of trying to pull them in a direction that they're not even willing to go.
After 5 years, you have an 80 to 90% chance of staying in long-term recovery. And it's getting that person in recovery to that 5-year mark so they have that opportunity of an 80 to 90% chance. You know, so after 30 days, there's a pretty big gap between 30 days and 5 years.
From the time that they get up to have to get whatever they have to get, who they have to steal to, who they have to lie to, that's all predetermined before they ever walk out the door. And then all the way to when they actually score the drugs, to the ritual of what they do with their friends and how they actually use it, then all the way to the evening of, you know, passing themselves out that night, and then waking up and doing that all the next day. Then you take them out of that, and that's been their ritual for however many years. I mean, the longer, the worse it is. And from there, you need a new ritual.
I feel like I sound like my mom, like routine is key, but it's true. You know, I go to bed at the same time, I wake up at the same time, I go to the gym on the same days. I'm a tax-paying, hard-working, honest citizen now. Like, who'd have thunk it?
I'm a convert. You know, I was the kind of guy that's like, how many times are we going to give these people? This is ridiculous. Aren't they going to learn? This is your own personal responsibility, blah, blah, blah. It ain't. It doesn't happen that way.
It takes a long time.
Well, unfortunately, there isn't much long-term treatment available for a guy like me who has shitty insurance and doesn't have money.
Yeah, I think sometimes it does come down to money, but I think in New Hampshire, they have started to do a really great job with Medicaid expansion to say, A, we need to be covering substance use treatment, and we need to start looking at how to raise some of the parameters that keep treatment providers stuck.
It was scary to think, like, could I do that? Could I actually hold down a job longer than 6 months? You know what I mean? Could I do that? Could I really go full-time to school and graduate? Could that happen? Could I get my master's degree? No way. Like, that all sounded ridiculous to me when I was using.
My manipulation is legendary. Don't ever underestimate my level of treachery. It's the devil in me. I'm forever etching your memory. You'll remember me because my benevolence is my weaponry. I effectively possess your energy with telepathy. It's definitely evident I'll be a celebrity, whether it be now or in heaven. Whenever they bury me as an entity, my legacy forever is definitely.
Chris Derry has suffered from addiction for 24 years, and that addiction has had a devastating effect on everyone in his life.
My son, Chris, is 34 years old. He's struggled all his life, actually beginning officially in kindergarten.
When Kathy and I first got together, Chris and Kathy were living in an apartment in Andover they just recently moved into. Chris was finishing first grade. He was 7 years old.
By age 12, he was an addict, though we didn't know it.
I was getting in trouble in school from first grade on. Like, the first time I ever got suspended, it was, I believe it was either first or second grade I got suspended. And, so I had behavior problems.
Filling in roles, and now you sort of like involuntarily, in their eyes, their parent. They didn't sign up for that. It was this guy. I gotta listen to this guy now? What the heck is that? He's not my father. So, yeah, it's a fine balancing act. So you get there's a different perspective, a different relationship.
Which obviously leads to other problems like hanging out with the wrong crowd. You're trying to be bad. You're trying to gain attention in negative ways, and so that leads you in the wrong direction. And then you start getting alcohol and drugs, stuff like that, that exacerbates all the whole situation.
At age 12, he, unbeknownst to my husband and I, he started finding ways to sneak alcohol. And he says that he immediately liked the way it made him feel.
By 12, it was drinking, alcoholically drinking to get drunk, smoking weed on a regular basis, smoking cigarettes, and those were all the gateway drugs. By the time I was 14, 15, I already learned how to cook coke and the crack, and was doing that, and it just progressed from there. Just went from one thing to another till I did heroin for my first time at 18 years old.
It was a really tough period from 18 to 25, and it was like a nightmare. So he was at our house, gone again, so it would just come and go. Kind of depends on the crap had hit the fan and no place to live, and we ended up picking up at a police station somewhere and taking him back for a little while until just goes through the cycle again.
Chris and I met at a bar in Nashua. I was out drinking, and he caught my eye. He was doing something goofy in front of the window, and he came in, and I just went up to him and asked him to come home with me. And that started the next 10 years.
Me and Sarah, we met at a bar, and we were hanging out, doing our thing, and it was probably the first week or so that she got pregnant. And, basically, I was running amok, just trying to party, have a good time, and then a month after meeting Sarah, she hit me with, bang, I'm pregnant.
From the minute I found out she was pregnant, I said, oh my God, we're gonna be taking care of a child. 100%, without any reservation whatsoever, I knew we were gonna be taking care of Brianna.
I said, well, let's try to make it work. At that point, we weren't on heroin yet. We weren't on opiates yet.
Shortly after having our first daughter, I got sent home with painkillers, and then we just started doing pills, which, within 6 months, we were doing heroin daily.
You realize you can get twice as high for half the money with heroin.
By the time Brianna was 1, it had become a problem.
And, it got ugly real quick. I called my mother and said, Mom, we're going to rehab. Can you take my daughter while we, try to kick this? But it didn't work out like we had planned. Basically, we had to make it all official and sign over rights and everything else, and just went from there.
They couldn't handle taking care of this child and getting themselves clean and sober. And clearly, both tasks are enormous, and no one could possibly take both of those tasks on, and they realized that, and they agreed to the guardianship without any resistance, which was good.
I had absolutely no choice in the matter. We said we want to get clean. Mama said, I'll take Brianna, but you got to sign some papers to make this official, because I don't want you to be able to go to a rehab and then 2 weeks later get out and say, I want my kid back. She wanted, it to be official and done through, the stipulations of the court.
And there was no evidence that either party was going to have the ability, one, to take care of themselves, let alone taking care of another child and raise them in a functional way.
Unfortunately, when you sign your rights over as a parent and, make somebody a guardian, the court automatically puts up stipulations that say, and you got to jump through hoops. They say, now you got to do parenting classes. Now you got to be sober for this amount of time. Okay, now you got to, you got to do all sorts of stuff. But the unfortunate thing is, it's up to the discretion of the guardian of what they deem fit, for you to have contact with your kids. So unfortunately, it was just,
Brianna, a leader in her groups and talented in all sorts of ways. I mean, she's just a great kid. I don't know where she would be if we didn't step in. It's just a big question mark. I don't think she would necessarily be where she is now. I can feel pretty comfortable with that assumption.
Brianna has grown up wondering why she can't live with her parents. She's been in a really safe, stable environment, and I think as she gets older, she'll realize that we tried to do what was best for her.
But I think there's a definite longing about not being regular, having a mommy and a daddy, who are really a mommy and daddy biologically, and being like everybody else. So there's a definite little pain about that.
And it gave us a free pass, I'm not gonna lie. It gave us a free pass. All right, my daughter's in good hands, okay, so we can go run amok a little bit longer. And then it just fucking snowballed from there.
We went to treatment. We both left our treatment, started using again, and then went back into treatment. We relapsed, started using again, and decided to go back to treatment. And we ended up leaving both of our places, and we were homeless in Boston for a couple of months.
We just disappointed everybody and didn't do things in a timely manner.
The years went on, and things just kept going around and around for Chris and Sarah, with maybe better a little bit, and then they go right back down again. I came to the realization that she's going to be ours. And the longer the time went on, I didn't want it to change. Not out of wanting to keep Brianna away from the parents, but she's established a life with us, and she's developing in a way she can be successful in life, and I don't really want to see that changed.
I think for Brianna, it's best for her to stay where she is, because I don't think it's right for her to remove her from the only environment she's ever known when my life has been so unsure and unstable, and I can't give her the stability that she's had.
We don't want to rip her out of her home where she had things that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to give to her.
Yeah. Okay, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, it's hard questions.
This is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Despite these difficulties, impulse control continued to be a problem.
Me and Sarah were living together when my second daughter was born. And we know for a fact was conceived in a hospital. Sarah was in a hospital, had to go there. She was in a program, had to be taken out of this program, brought to a hospital for something like pneumonia or whatever the hell it was. And I came and visited her there.
He would take the train to come and see me every day while I was in the hospital, and I ended up pregnant again.
So I was like, all right, it's time to get sober again. Let's try this all over again.
And I managed to stay clean for the pregnancy. And decided to get on Suboxone. And we did okay for a while, but it just, 4 months we'd do okay, and then we'd slip up and, you know, use for another few months, and then we'd try again, and it's just like the constant over and over again. And because of that,
people were worried, oh, what's gonna happen with this one, you know, and they wanted us to put her up for adoption, and we had agreed. We're gonna put her up for adoption, that's the best thing, blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, nobody knows what that's like till you actually get to that moment. You see your child born, okay, you're holding her, and now the next step is you either keep her and do your best, or you hand her over to whatever they are, social services or whatever the hell. And we decided, no, we can't do this, and we went from there. We did the best we could.
Brianna's been with Chris's parents, Kathy and Mike, since she was 1. Our other daughter was with me up until recently, when I became incarcerated. And so she ended up with a cousin of mine.
Sarah had gotten in some trouble. She had after me and her had split up, she started letting some undesirables hang out at the house or whatever. She got caught up in a situation that, you know, had some unfortunate outcomes, and basically she went to jail.
In a perfect world, I would want our family back together, but I don't know if that's a reality, because Chris and I had a using relationship for so long that it makes me nervous to think about us being together again.
Bree has so many things going for her. Her ability to sing, and she loves dancing, and very, very energetic and outgoing, and just a fun person. And she's like a magnet to people. She's a leader, natural leader to her classmates, and top student in all her classes. So, you know, we're obviously very hopeful and happy with her success.
I've never thought of what gives me hope, but I guess it's like asking any parent, what makes you love your child? I want to save my kid. That's what gives me hope. I'm going to save my kid.
I really just want my girls to be happy and healthy and safe, and if that's that's without me, that's how it has to be.
Where's my kids? Where's my home? Where's my career? How the time fly by and wind up 35 years. I cried a lot of tears, bought a lot of bottles of beers, hit a lot of rock bottoms, saw a lot of despair. I said I'll never stick a needle in my arm. I swear we'll never go there. That's going down the road to nowhere. Now I'm shooting dope, but dope blow on Skid Row here. It's been days in these same old clothes and don't care. Oh yeah, it gets worse than that.
I'd like to see myself sober and happy at the same time, because right now it almost feels like it's impossible to have sobriety and happiness at the same time. Complete sobriety from all substances.
The biggest message of hope that I have is that, one, recovery is possible, and two, that recovery and happiness are two things that absolutely are achievable, that they happen at the same time, and that your greatest life is left to be lived.
Not everything works for every person, regardless of the same addiction. You know, one person's going to do great with medication and intensive therapy, and another person's going to do great with long-term inpatient and transitional living.
Our goal is really to try to provide a long-term connection and a continuum of communication with folks. We want to let folks know that we're here, and that's what I love about working at the police department, is it's 24/7.
There's so many different pathways that meet here, which gives so much more opportunity for someone attempting recovery to succeed.
Everybody's an individual, you know, and I think some people need an inpatient and other people don't need an inpatient. Other people need intensive outpatient. But I think what the most important thing is when someone's ready.
What worked for me in getting treatment was I started with intensive outpatient therapy, and I went to multiple groups every week.
There's a lot of controversy, or has been in the past. I think it's shifting now around medicated assisted treatment. So we know that there's a lot of evidence that supports medicated assisted treatment being effective.
The one thing that I've seen work in my experience is something that is a backbone overall, which is the 12 steps, and they really support that amongst other ways of getting sober.
We offer different paths or avenues in which to explore one's beliefs, one's needs, one in which is the Buddhist path.
Whatever direction you want, whether it's 12-step, whether it's faith-based stuff, I mean, whatever works for you is, I mean, I'm a big believer in 12-step abstinence-based recovery. That's my experience and a lot of my friends' experience, but I mean, I need something to I needed something big to help me. I couldn't just say no.
Get out of there.
In 3/4 mile, turn left.
How do you feel?
I feel good. A little apprehensive.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, be expected. I feel excited though, you know? It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to pretend my mother's not here, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you know what? Well,
Huh?
It's all right, honey.
You know what I mean?
I'm just.
Yeah, I can just...
No, you know what? I never heard you say that.
the apprehension is just, it's a big day, right?
It is. Yeah. It's a big step, big move.
Does this feel...
I'm very happy though. You know?
Does this feel different than...
Much different. Different.
What do you think?
I mean, it's just everything culminating, you know, coming together. You know, just, I got an opportunity of a lifetime, you know, which is the missing link, long-term treatment I've never had before. Never had that opportunity before. You know, most I've ever had is sober houses. They don't work for me, you know. Too much rope to hang yourself with.
Chris's mom told us about the phone call, awarding Chris a scholarship to long-term treatment.
The day that I found out, after oh my God, what I felt was joy coursing through my veins. And I thought to myself, this is the same way I felt when I held my infant and he was just born. And you have all the dreams in the world.
I was getting in trouble in school from first grade on. The first time I ever got suspended, it was, I believe it was either first or second grade I got suspended.
And hopes for every possibility of happiness.
I started smoking cigarettes at 11, and weed, and started drinking at 12.
And obviously through the years, you let go of dreams that'll go to the prom.
By the time I was 14, 15, I already learned how to cook coke and the crack, you know.
Dreams that he'll go to college.
Just went from one thing to another till I did heroin for my first time at 18 years old.
Dreams that he'll get married
Chris and I met at a bar in Nashua. I was out drinking. I just went up to him and asked him to come home with me.
And I had the feeling like birth. I was, and still am, just joyful that I get to dream again, that I get to hope.
Hope is alive and well. People do recover, people do change, and they also affect other people's lives.
Trust me, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I know that is very cliche to say, but if you don't give up and you just keep using the supports that are out there, finding what works for you, anybody can make it happen.
24/7, anybody who's looking for help, whether it be for opiates or meth or alcohol or anything else, they can walk into a firehouse and say, I need help. Simple, I need help. And we'll get them the help. We'll get them a shot at treatment 100% of the time.
Before I got sober, I was homeless and I had no life skills. I'd never had a job in any other field. I'd never cashed a paycheck. I'd never filed a tax return. And in recovery, with the program that I learned that kept me sober, I applied it to my career and became wildly successful in my career.
Yeah, I do definitely feel like, which is weird, I never thought I'd be like a contributing member to society. Like, I'll go into a gas station, everyone knows me there, they're not looking at me worried I'm gonna steal something. Like, it's pretty cool.
The mentality of police officers has to go towards the guardian of community. Police officers love, and it's important, make a big arrest, make a good arrest, things that are exciting and things like that. But we're trying to change the culture in policing that. What's important is helping a fellow human being.
Daddy, here we go. All right. This is from my big daughter. I'm not gonna say her name because I can't say my little daughter's name, so I won't say my big daughter's name either. Thanksgiving, seasons of thankfulness for life, health, and all things good. Please try as hard as you can to get better. Do it for me, please.
I love that you said, do it for me.
So I saw Chris after that. I think I saw her, I'm like, Chris, you have beautiful kids. And he's got a good support system. His parents are engaged and they really want to help him, which not a whole lot of people have.
And he has dreams that he wants to fulfill.
What would you like your life to be if you achieve that? What would you like to do? What is your, what's your goal?
Music, man, music. I'm a musician. I like music.
Damn, this is never the plan. I'm on skid row. I got this pen in my hand, a pen in the jam. Years now, rambling in. So what happened to my kids? The mother stuck in the can. You try to mom, but you can tell I ain't the luckiest man. Ain't got a chance to get stepped up as I get him holy. I think only takes so many years. My sunny days are done and gone. I told him so many clicks.
I'm right. I'm a writer, I'm a rapper. I used to be a singer when I was a kid, but then my voice went, now my voice only lets me do the rap thing.
This shit is the worst, a curse, but it freaking gives me a thirst to get about the dirt and deliver this verse. Hit you with the hurt, let you witness the birth. It's a first, it's a brand new plan. I do with my own two hands, a brand new man. I used to be a rapper's man. You better listen, this is my testament. Check it out. You want my best advice, you better check the price. Before you invest your life, you better check twice. Better bring a wreck your life, you better get it right. Better be tight, tell little Bella it's a rap. I was a rapper's man. Rapper's man. I was a rapper's man.
You know who you were born to be, and you know who you want to be, and you know who you can be. But you, and you alone, have to have the sheer determination to make that happen. And there's gonna be some, fumbles and trips and slips, and a lot of emotion is going to come out because we do a lot of hurt as junkies and addicts to the ones that we love, and you do have to make amends for it. That's not saying you're sorry to every single person, it's showing it.
I mean, the biggest thing I can say is, like, if you're breathing, don't give up. Don't stop fighting. Like, it's not over yet. Like, I didn't think this time, I didn't plan on getting sober this time. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But, like, I did some work and, like, I'm better now, and like life is really good. And it sucked because I kept falling off, and I thought that like I'd get so discouraged every time. But like, don't stop fighting. Don't give up. If you're breathing, there's still hope.
So back in the day in London, they would have somebody that went around and lit the lamps, and you never knew where he was, but you could always see where he'd been. And I think that if people stopped with a lot of the negativity, a lot of the stigma that's around it, and really started to focus in on where their attentions and where their energy should go, we would affect a much greater change.
hope for Chris is on a shorter time frame, weeks, 2 weeks, and then hopefully things will just keep going the way they were. Not over a long time span, because I've found that things change rapidly, or they can potentially change rapidly. And interestingly enough, in Kathy's case, I certainly hope Chris does well, because that would be tough for Kathy if he doesn't. We came close a couple times with ODs, and thank God he made it through. Because I don't know, Kathy would just be a mess.
She feels it, yeah.
She would really be a mess. Obviously it would affect me too. It'd be horrible to go through that.
Right.
But I know that Kathy would, because she has a lot of hope that things are going to be good. So.
Here it is. I'm gonna go get my Chris. First day of the rest of your life, right?
Right.
Next on Opium.
A test came really early, a test that I was not strong enough to fucking, you know what I mean? I was not strong enough to say no.
When you know a patient on a first-name basis and it's not a kind little old lady, guys are very short-tempered and kind of feel down in the dumps that we're making no difference.
I was one of those parents that said that this would never, ever, ever happen to me. And boy, was I wrong, because I got a double whammy.
People would like to say, not in my backyard, but it's here. There has to be a bigger role than just talking about the opioid problem. Action needs to be done. Put your money where your mouth is. Let the people get help.
I cannot break any fucking rules in this place. I don't want to get on anybody's radar. You know what I mean? Because I get kicked out there, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I'm going to go use a phone, I'm going to call my friends, my family, say, hey, can you come pick me up? I'm in Delaware, No, it's not going to work.